The opinions expressed on this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect those of Cable 14, its sponsors, or its shareholders, Cogeco Cable, Shaw Cable, and Source Cable Limited.
Hi and welcome to another episode of Our City. I'm your host Martinus Geleynse, and you may notice we're not at Cable 14 today. We're on Cable 14, but we're on location on James Street North outside of the famous Mulberry Street Coffee House. We're not going here for coffee. We're actually going upstairs in Hotel Hamilton to speak with Colin Ferguson of Snakehead Games and Kevin Browne from Software Hamilton. Let's take a look. Welcome to another episode of Our City. I'm your host, Martinus Geleynse. We're doing a bit of a different episode today. We're actually going to be on location for three of our segments today. And the first one, we're here actually on James Street North in the old studios at Hotel Hamilton building. We're here with Kevin Browne of Demo Camp, the Demo Camps Hamilton, Software Hamilton rather, and you hold Demo Camps, and Colin Ferguson of Snakehead Games. So we're here to talk about a little bit of what these gentlemen do as a local technology producer, someone working in the high-tech creative field here in town, and someone who organizes events for these kind of people. So maybe you can tell us a little bit, first of all, what exactly is Software Hamilton and what are the demo camps?
So Software Hamilton is an initiative to grow a bigger tech industry in Hamilton. I've been at McMaster for a long time, and Mac students come in, they generally leave because we haven't had a tech industry. So Software Hamilton is an initiative to grow a tech community. And Demo Camp is an event where the tech community connects with itself and shows itself off to itself. So we have demos from guys like Colin and other startups in the area. They show off their tech for 5 minutes, and they get 5 minutes of Q&A feedback from the community, from their peers, and they can use that as feedback to improve their products. So Software Hamilton is an initiative to grow a tech industry, and Demo Camps an event we do every 2-4 months to push that along.
And so people come and they put up a screen and they show off, here's the stuff behind what I'm doing, here's the look and feel, here are my ideas, and then people critique them.
Yeah, exactly. They'll show off, a game they made or an e-commerce website they've made or some kind of mobile app. And then they generally get really good feedback because it's from their peers. It's from other people that are making mobile apps. It's from other people that are making games. Yeah.
Interesting. And you have demo camped or demoed at Demo Camp once upon a time. Can you tell us what was that like?
So it was a great experience. I mean, Kevin is the fundamental person really for networking for the tech companies around. So it was great to speak at Demo Camp because that's one of the hotbeds where we get to talk to people and for recruiting purposes. So we just showed off one of our games, Word Nerds, that was going live, and it was a great experience.
Cool. And you got good feedback from good people?
Yeah, so we got good feedback, and at the time we were just putting our head out around Hamilton to find out who's around. So it was a great opportunity to find the other tech companies and just show, represent.
Yeah, awesome. So tell us a little bit about Snakehead Games, because we're in your office here on the top story of Hotel Hamilton, and it's a pretty cool space, lots of computers around, great little coffee machine. I'm about to taste what that produced. But tell us what you guys produce here.
Sure. So Snakehead Games is a gaming company. For the past 5 years, we've been doing some online games. One is starpirates.net, the other is spybattle.com. And what they're about is their community games. So really, there's a game there, but a lot of people show up because they just meet friends online and they have a chance to, wherever they are in the world, whether they're at military bases or here in Hamilton, they get to hang out with their friends online while playing our games.
And so you do the whole development process of a game? You come up with the idea, you're doing the artwork. What's involved in putting together a game?
A lot of blood, sweat, and tears, quite honestly. But it's great. We love what we do. And what we do from the very beginning is we have ideas since we've been young. I'm in partnership with my brother and a friend of ours. And so since we were young, we've just been creating games. This is our opportunity to take all those ideas and put them actually into a space. And it worked out really well from the very start.
And how many people do you have working for us right now? I mean, this is a fairly large office for Hotel Hamilton especially. So tell us a bit about your company.
So Snakehead started out with the three of us, and we kept it that way for about 4 years. February this year, we decided to branch out, and we started adding people. So we got a space here at Hotel Hamilton. Love it. Worked out really well for us. And we started adding staff. In fact, we added one today, and we're adding 2 on Monday. So we'll be up to 7 at that point, and I guess actually we'll be up to 8 at that point.
Wow. 8 people. So the tech field is obviously it's doing well in Hamilton. Would you say we've got a few animation studios that moved in? You guys are here. Can you comment on general high-tech software development, that kind of stuff. How do you see your particular field doing in Hamilton?
Oh, over the last few years, it's really accelerated, just with companies like Colin's moving in and Weaver Apps over at the Innovation Park, just expanding and growing, and hiring Mac students. And I like to see that especially because it keeps them here, keeps those brains churning here and producing wealth here. And it's doing very well, and I think gaming in particular is something that's going to be strong for Hamilton because he's right on James North, where you've got the musicians and the artists and the graphic designers and the kind of things and the storytellers and the kind of people that can add the creative and art aspect to the tech and really kind of make really cool stuff.
So is there anything about Hamilton that makes this a really good place to do this kind of stuff, or is this stuff that you could really do anywhere? You could live in a house in the middle of the country and code games, or is there why Hamilton, and is this really a good place to be doing this?
I think it is because we've got the cheap space and the talent from McMaster and Mohawk, and it's just a matter of people moving in and taking advantage of it, and it's started to happen, especially over the last few years.
So we're going to take a look at some of the games here. Colin's going to show us a bit of his work.
So this is Star Pirates. We just logged into the screen and started playing the game. There's a variety of things you can do. You can research, you can fight others, you can go through belts and try to do look for items. Every hour you find different things. But the main part about the game is not necessarily just that or going to the ship or the station. It's about the social side. So here you'll see, just as we're talking, people are talking in the game. And it's almost like a community Twitter where everyone gets a chance to chat. There's also a forum section where people get to talk about the issues of the day, whatever that is. So the community is really important. So you can see that there's chatting here where people are just contacting like it's a community Twitter account. And here there's forums, which is great. People get to talk about what's going on in the events, plan battles, talk about trade items, things like that. And there's also fleets. So a lot of people join and will join a fleet and they'll try to go to war with other fleets together or try to help each other out. And really it's about the community side. Star Pirates is free to play, and there's really no cost to it, and people, if they want, they can actually contribute and do a bit more, but really the entire game is open for anybody, anytime. This is Recycle Time. Recycle Time is a game mainly made for toddlers, however, I personally am addicted to it. We've created this game so it's touch-based. It'll be showing up in your iPhone store and Android store soon, but the idea is to make sure the items go in the right spot, and that is essentially the game. Sadly, it speeds up, and along the way you try to make sure it goes in the right bin. Blue to the one side, over there. Environmentally friendly and very, kids enjoy it and parents enjoy that there's a message with it. That's a good message. It's not about violence, it's not about hurting. It's about learning and becoming a better person. And that is essentially the game. Spelling Bee is our large screen, this is a large screen demo of Spelling Bee. And this is another game that is made more for the younger crowd. And the idea of the game is very simple. You type letters, you make words. As you make words going along, you'll get points. So I made a word. If I can make it 5 letters, I get even more points. And I can always restart and clear and start from scratch. So I type in T, E, and hopefully this makes a word. If not, it just restarts. Fun game. It's made for kids, but actually everybody seems to enjoy it, including those who love crosswords. So, like Recycle Time, this will be showing up in the App Store probably about December. So it'll be available for Apple and for Android and for a couple other platforms as well.
Welcome back to Our City. I'm your host, Martinus Geleynse. We're here on location on Pearl Street to talk with Katherine Kalinowski about the urgent needs of homeless women in Hamilton. So Katherine, welcome to Our City.
Thank you.
Now, can you describe to our viewing audience where we're sitting right now?
Yeah, actually we're in Good Shepherd's new Women's Services facility on Pearl Street, and this facility represents a real innovation in providing resources and responses to women who are homeless and women who are experiencing crisis as a result of abuse and violence in their homes.
And what's your role with this organization?
With this organization, I'm the Assistant Executive Director of Programs.
Okay. Now, the crisis that's been alluded to, we've seen it in the newspapers, and I've seen it on social media mentioned a number of times. Can you explain why is this? What is the crisis, first of all, and how have we reached this point?
Sure. Women's homelessness is nothing new. Unfortunately, it's near epidemic, and it's existed for a long time in this and many other communities. The fact is, currently in Hamilton, we are turning women away from our shelter doors on a regular basis due to lack of space. Women face all kinds of risks in this community, and one of them being that they find themselves absolutely homeless or precariously housed, relying on some unsafe situations in order to survive in our community if they can't access emergency shelter or affordable safe housing.
So this particular center that we're sitting in right now, how does that? What's the process then for someone who finds himself homeless?
Mm-hmm.
What's the process for them coming to this sort of a place?
Yeah. Well, our hope is that if a woman finds herself in crisis, she's homeless and needs a safe place to go, that she'll either call the shelter or come to the shelter herself, or that she'll connect with someone who will be able to refer her here. And assuming that we can find space for her, she can anticipate getting a full range of services, assistance with her income, if she has any legal issues, if she has any health issues, then we're here and available to help. Our ultimate goal is to help women move along the housing continuum, out of homelessness, sometimes through shelter, often into a transitional housing program if that's appropriate, but ultimately into a place of their own in the community that feels safe, that's accessible, and that they can sustain over the long term.
And this is a fairly large facility, is it, in comparison to others in the city?
Well, it is. We have 20 beds for single homeless women in this facility in our Mary's Place program, but there are 5 emergency shelters for women in Hamilton that are largely dedicated to serving women women and children specifically, who have experienced abuse.
So, Katherine, tell us why does a woman become homeless?
Women become homeless for all sorts of reasons, and it's as individual as the woman is herself. Certainly, the overrepresentation of women amongst the poor in this community is a significant factor. The ability to pay for housing and maintain housing is very challenging. As well, women may become homeless because they have a history of trauma, either stemming back even as early as childhood that impacts how they live today, or they've experienced violence and abuse in various relationships during their adult life. That also can impact their housing status. Mental health issues are also a factor, and it's kind of a chicken or egg question. Does someone have a mental illness because they're living with the stress and the degradation of homelessness, or did their mental health issue contribute to them becoming homeless? It can be a little of both. At the end of the day, there are lots of reasons women become homeless, but none of them are insurmountable if a woman can find a place to live and build some stability.
And as a broader community, why should we care about this? How is it that this affects people other than the individual homeless women themselves?
Mm-hmm. The way that we can understand the strength of our community is by looking at how we treat those who are most vulnerable amongst us. And the fact of the matter is that homelessness costs all of us money. We often talk about the impact of social services on taxpayers, but it's far more expensive to pay for emergency services, hospital stays, involvement with the criminal justice system than it is to invest in the futures of people who really do want to be fully engaged, active, productive citizens. By providing people with affordable housing, women with affordable housing, opportunity, and the supports they need, the costs to our community are actually significantly less.
So what is it then that the broader community can do to support homeless women and the shelters that support them?
Well, I think that homeless women are often invisible. We don't spend a lot of time applying a gender lens to the issue of homelessness. And I think people would be surprised to know how prevalent the issue is in this community. But we are about to launch a campaign actually to increase awareness and to invite people in our community to think about how they can act to support homeless women in all kinds of practical ways. We are in a crisis in this community. We're turning women away hundreds of times a month from our emergency shelters, and we need to put our focus on developing appropriate responses to women's homelessness that have lasting impacts.
And if people wish to become involved directly with this particular facility, I understand you accept volunteers. How do they get in touch with you?
Absolutely. Good Shepherd has a very robust volunteer department. We couldn't do the work we do without our volunteers, and they can go online and check out our website. And the work that we're doing in terms of women's homelessness is actually the work of a collaboration of local agencies, mission services, Inasmuch House, Native Women's Centre, Phoenix Place, the YWCA of Hamilton, and Womankind, as well as Good Shepherd Women's Services. And all of us are welcoming volunteers into our facilities to help with this issue, and can give you ideas about other ways you can support the needs of homeless women.
Thank you so much for joining us today on Our City.
You're most welcome. Thank you.
Welcome back to Our City. I'm your host, Martinus Geleynse. Today, we're downtown Jackson Square at King and James, right in the heart of our downtown near Gore Park. Jackson Square is a mall that's too big to ignore. It occupies too many city blocks, so it has to be a part of the downtown in some way. So we're here to talk with Scott Kyle, the general manager of Jackson Square and Yale Properties, and Jocelyn Mainville, who's a leasing manager here on property, about how Jackson Square is a part of downtown, how it's turning the corner, and generally what's going on in our downtown mall. So we're standing right now in front of Joseph's, which is a salon here in Jackson Square that exhibits the new design criteria that's being introduced by the administration here. So Scott, can you explain to us a little bit about the design criteria that you're requiring of your vendors?
Sure. What we have is a 40-year-old shopping center. And back in those days, the malls were designed with a lower ceiling height, a little bit more intimate feeling. It's, typical downtown urban shopping center. Where retailing is going now, in some of the bigger shopping centers, the super regionals, is lighter, airier, higher storefronts, more glass. So what we're doing here with Joseph's and with our design criteria is allowing the retailer to raise their storefront as high as possible, eliminating the old mall bulkhead that was the original condition, and allowing for more expansive glass and just a higher and airier feeling at the storefront.
And it looks like higher quality materials, illuminated signs. It's really quite beautiful. Jocelyn.
It really goes to using better materials, as you pointed out. So in the criteria, we're stipulating better quality finishings and challenging the retailers really to stretch a little bit on their design.
So Jocelyn, tell us, how are people responding to this requirement, to this new design criteria?
They're responding really well. Even our independent retailers, who they're lovingly referred to as mom and pop shops, they're seeing the mall is improving, they're seeing the clientele is improving, and they're not quite as afraid to spend the money that's required in order to achieve the new design criteria.
And ultimately, with better looking storefronts, it's a better looking mall and everyone does better.
Everybody does better.
So we're now standing in the space of Hamilton's future grocery store, downtown core grocery store, and it's going to be a Nations Fresh. So Scott, can you explain a little bit what we can look forward to here?
Well, this is really exciting for us. Nations is bill themselves as Canada's multicultural grocery store. So what you're going to have here is East meets West in downtown Hamilton. The product assortment will be full line grocery, so you can get your craft dinner, you can get fresh seafood, fresh baked goods, huge deli counter, wood-burning pizza. It's just going to have everything. And then what they've also are going to do is they mix the merchandise according to the ethnicity of the market they're serving. So they have all their downtown demographics. They're going to take all that information, and all the product mix will cater to the people who live and work in downtown Hamilton.
And it's 55,000 square feet of brand new, really, really cool looking retail space. Jocelyn, how is this affecting, or how is this making your job easier to land tenants for Jackson Square in this complex?
It's giving us, I guess, a little more, I don't want to say the word credibility, but a little more credibility. We're still here. Even through all the good and the bad, Jackson Square is still a viable place to open a business, and Nations is helping us show that.
And just across the hallway from the side of the store, where this store is where the Anchor Bar is going too. And so when's that opening?
The Anchor Bar will probably be open early next year, so we're hoping maybe around January. It should be ready to go.
So this opens in the spring, Anchor Bar shortly thereafter, and before, that's right. And so what's next then for Jackson Square?
Well, we can't say what's next yet. The one thing that Jocelyn alluded to is giving us more credibility. But what's happening now is that retailers that maybe had taken a pass on Jackson Square are now coming back for a second look, and we're getting a lot of great press about the grocery store and about the Anchor Bar. So people are saying, you know what, maybe we should take another look at Jackson Square. There's some good things happening, and we should be part of it. So that's hopefully what is next.
It's an exciting time to be downtown. It's an exciting time to be in Jackson Square. So thank you all for joining us again. This week, I'm Martinus Geleynse. This is Our City. We'll see you next time.